disagree, but I do not think that any one article or two articles saying Trump's a socialist should trigger.
I don't think Trump is a socialist either.
This is my point. This article is so ridiculous that we put the headline on the title.
Let me ask the liberals at the table a question, because I'm actually very curious about this. Why are you all so opposed to the idea that maybe Trump actually might support socialist ideas? Is it because
I just don't think he is.
I
don't think
that way?
In this episode, the panel dives into a heated debate over Donald Trump's tariffs, the rising cost of living, and whether his economic policies resemble socialism, authoritarianism, or something entirely different. You'll hear strong arguments from both sides, along with disagreements over inflation, manufacturing, and the future of American politics. Watch the full discussion, and once it's over, I'll share my own thoughts on what stood out the most.
Listen, I lived through a right-wing dictatorship in Nicaragua, Somoza, and I lived as a child through left-wing dictatorship, the socialists, the Sandinistas. What do? They like to ration things, right? So the things that are coming out of Trump's mouth sound like rationing for the American people. I agree with you. He's not a socialist. What he is a authoritarian, and what he is a corrupt hypocrite. Because at the same time that he's telling you that you can only give your children 5 pencils and 3 dolls, he is making billions of dollars. He and his family are making billions of dollars out of a crypto grift. His wife is getting paid tens of millions of dollars, $40 million by Amazon for a documentary based on the coffee book that she put out on her life. And so it's incredibly hypocritical for these billionaires to be telling the American people who are having a hard time paying for their groceries that they should endure a little pain. It is cruel. It is like so nonchalant,
but
so
where
Marie
are all these arguments when Joe Biden's inflation was killing America?
So did he ever tell people, go ahead, feel a little pain?
He didn't have to tell them when you went to the grocery store and your bill was $400 more than it was last week.
The reality is they still are feeling that pain, and they're going to continue to feel more. If you don't want to buy your daughter more than $3 or your son more than $3, don't. But you can buy them 10 because we live in America and we should have that choice. It's not the president's role to say your kids only need $3 or $10. That's the first point.
I think you said people weren't going to have money to buy the dolls.
Well, they aren't going to have money to buy the dolls. We aren't going to have the dolls. The dolls are going to be too expensive. It's going to be
Barbie prices just went
a compound effect because of what Donald Trump is doing. The second thing is you talked about the Dispatch being just some old Republican. That's your party. These people that are writing this are like people that probably voted for Donald Trump.
I like Jonah.
I like Jonah. Right? Jonah's one of our candidates.
If you don't like the Dispatch, fine. Okay, here's the National Review. Here's the National Review. The man who for decades has been a symbol of unapologetic American excess is now defending his tariff policies by making the case against abundance. Trump is now arguing that children are going to have to get used to having less.
As luck would have it, I came here from the Manhattan Institute Gala, and who was sitting right next to me at the table but some of the editors from National Review. And I said, I think I'm talking about you guys tonight. I said, let me ask you something. You guys disagree with Trump a lot, right? And they said, yes, our paper, we sometimes disagree with Trump. Do you have any buyer's remorse in voting and supporting Trump over Kamala Harris? And it was met with a roar of laughter, like, no, absolutely not. And they cited things like DEI and other things that they were appreciative of. We have a big tent party, and we can disagree, but I do not think that any one article or two articles saying Trump's a socialist should trigger.
I don't think Trump is a socialist either.
This is my point. This article is so ridiculous
Can I just ask
we put the headline on the title.
Let me ask the liberals at the table a question, because I'm actually very curious about this. Why are you all so opposed to the idea that maybe Trump actually might support socialist ideas? Is it because there are people who identify that way in your party?
No, because I think that there are people who on the left who would be aghast right now on the internet and everywhere else if you lump me in with the AOCs and Bernie Sanders of the world, and that's not it at all. I just think we're giving Donald Trump too much credit.
I would also. Wait, I didn't think that calling Trump a socialist was necessarily giving him credit.
Because it seems as if he's accidentally falling into some robust political policy.
Kari, here's
and he's not.
This is what's not ringing true, though. Look at the automobile industry based on these tariffs. Do you know how many companies are now going to build their cars in America? Honda's expanding their plant. Volkswagen is expanding. Within 6 months.
Ford just said today that they're raising prices.
They're raising prices and laying people off.
But you know why? Because Ford builds some of their stuff in Mexico and in Canada. But the Europeans and the Japanese are coming to America to create jobs.
1 second. Just
Ford's losing Canadian jobs and Mexican jobs.
Two fundamental questions. You do realize that there's no such thing as a fully American-made vehicle because even the big three utilize pieces from Mexico and Canada. Therefore, the price is going up.
What about Tesla?
But what I want to...
Tesla is the number one. Why are you shaking your head? Tesla is the number one vehicle made with American parts.
Let me respond.
Honda is number two.
Okay, Arthur, let me respond to that. Tesla is more American made than those other cars, but even they have said the tariffs are going to hurt us.
But do you think the tariff is good policy? You too. That's what I mean. That's the large question. Do you actually think?
I don't think 145% on China is a good thing.
Do you think this willy-nilly tariff policy is good? Not the insults on the Dispatch or National Review and eating that rubber chicken at the gala tonight. Like, do you think
it was filet mignon, actually? It was lamb. It was lamb. It was lamb.
Really, the working class party here.
Come for the catering. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
The problem, so whether he's a socialist or not, I think is not a relevant question. But he does have authoritarian characteristics that I think are far more troublesome. The attacks on the media, the attacks on the arts, the unwillingness to accept election results. I mean, he's still there and he won't accept the election results from 2020. These are all things that Ortega does, that Maduro does, that the Castros did, the weaponizing of government against their opposition. Those are all things that dictators do. And so I will keep saying that he walks like a duck, he talks like a duck, and he looks like a duck. Is that the saying?
Yes, it is. I think
there you go.
One thing, to take it off of the term of socialism, one thing that I think that those two articles, because they're conservative outlets, are doing, and I said this actually before the election, I don't know when the Republican Party will actually have a split, but the direction it is going, there are Republicans that find Trump's economic policies troubling, whether it's tariffs, and I think there are Democrats and progressives that also are finding the policies of the Democratic Party troubling. And what I think is actually happening in this moment is we are starting to actually be on the verge of this traditional two-party system that has happened in America because of some of the extremes on both sides that people are going to, and I don't think it's going to be progressives go more to the left and Republicans go. I think it's going to be a configuration of people from both parties that find themselves in the center and an independent verge of, because none of this is sustainable. And I think that's actually what this article is suggesting.
I think the reason you haven't seen that split is because Republicans, like a lot of other Americans, are incredibly afraid of Donald Trump and the hell that will rain on them. We actually heard Susan Collins, not Collins, Murkowski. Lisa Murkowski.
I confuse them as well.
Lisa Murkowski say that just a few weeks ago. Look at what's happening to Tom Tillis, the senator, because he's saying he refuses to vote for Ed Martin.
But you understand, when people say they're afraid of Donald Trump, they're afraid of the electoral consequences of going against him. That is because the electoral results are fundamentally based on people's votes.
But the fear is...
People are, whether you like it or not, people in the Republican Party and many outside of the Republican Party are still supportive of Donald Trump.
It's a little deep.
That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of voters. They're not afraid. You compared him to Maduro before.
Like he's going to throw someone in a cage.
I think you're missing it. Electoral consequences.
I think you're missing it because I think that fear is slightly deeper. My grandmother used to have this saying that you can't fall off the floor, right? And as an 8-year-old, that didn't mean a whole lot to me. But as you get older, you begin to realize what that means. There are a lot of people in this country who feel put upon or oppressed, whether or not they're women or immigrants. I mean, there are people in this country who fear that when they walk out, they won't get access to the fundamental rights of due process that are due to everyone. It doesn't even say legal citizen. It says literally due to everyone. And so the fear that we're talking about is not just electoral consequences, not just Ed Martin.
That was definitely a passionate discussion, and there were strong opinions from every side of the table. What stood out to me wasn't whether someone won the debate, but how differently each person defined the real issue. Some focused on tariffs and manufacturing, while others were more concerned about personal freedoms and political power. It shows that the same policy can be viewed through completely different lenses depending on what people value most. One thing is certain, economic decisions don't happen in a vacuum, they affect prices, businesses, and everyday families. At the same time, debates about leadership and government authority are becoming just as important as debates about the economy itself. Whether you agreed with the panel or not, conversations like these help us understand the arguments shaping today's political landscape. It's always worth listening to multiple perspectives before forming your own opinion. Healthy debate is how ideas are challenged and tested. The most valuable takeaway isn't choosing a side immediately, it's asking better questions. What do you think? Did one argument stand out more than the others? Or do you think the panel missed an important point? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments because I'd love to hear different perspectives. And if you enjoy thoughtful political discussions and breakdowns like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.